Hi, I'm Tyler Jeffries for the June edition of This is Glendale. I'm standing here at Glendale Historic Preservation with Martin Sinnott, the president, and he's going to tell us a little bit about an upcoming exhibit. Martin?
Thank you, Tyler. We've got an exhibit in the depot right now of the 1865 3D photographs taken by Frederick Glessner. These were discovered in a house in Glendale, up in the attic, by Addison Clipson, and have been in the Glendale Heritage Preservation's archives for about 20 years. And now we have them on display for you to see in 3D.
So I understand you've got a little bit of a video to show us about this exhibit, and we also want to invite people to join to come and look at it in person, right?
Yes, the museum will be open on Thursdays and Saturdays from 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And this video will give you a brief introduction to what you can see at the depot.
In 2022, Glendale Heritage Preservation held an exhibit called Glendale in 1865, 3D Photographs by F. Glessner. In 1865, the Cincinnati artist and photographer Frederick Glessner photographed some of the homes and buildings of Glendale using his stereoscopic camera. Glendale Heritage Preservation has the glass plates from his photo shoot in its collection. The most famous is the Harkness steam locomotive and passenger car standing at the depot. This photograph was the inspiration for the mural on the side of the Jack Rabbit shoe store on Sharon Avenue. Frederick Glessner, who lived from 1815 to 1874, trained as a doctor at the Medical College of Ohio on 6th Street in downtown Cincinnati, but never took up the profession. Instead, he worked as an artist and photographer. He taught in the drawing school of the Ohio Mechanics Institute. At the Institute's annual exhibition in 1857, he exhibited a full-length portrait of Cincinnati industrialist Miles Greenwood, similar to this one painted in 1866 by Jean Aubrey. At the same time, Glessner was mastering the art of photography, and at the 1870 Cincinnati Industrial Exposition, he exhibited a group of his landscape photographs. Stereoscopic photographic views, known as stereographs, were immensely popular in the United States and Europe from about the mid-1850s through the early years of the 20th century, as depicted in this painting by Jacob Spoil. A stereograph is produced by making two images of the same subject with a camera with two lenses placed 2.5 inches apart to simulate the position of the human eyes. Oliver Wendell Holmes Sr. devised a popular stereoscope through which the stereograph could be viewed. The two images were brought together by the effort of the human brain to create an illusion of three-dimensionality. The following images compare Frederick Glessner's 1865 stereographs of Glendale with the same buildings as they were in 2022.
Thanks for sharing that wonderful video with us, Martin.
You're welcome.
Now we're going to toss it over to Joe to talk a little bit about your water bill.
Hi, I'm Joe Dubinsky for This is Glendale, and I'm here with David Lumsden, the village administrator, to talk about the Glendale water utility. So David, in previous segments, we followed the water molecule from the aquifer into the water treatment plant, through the village of Glendale, out through the sewers, through the wastewater treatment facility, and back to the Mill Creek.
Yep.
There's a cost associated with doing all of
There
that.
certainly is.
What's the budget for the water utility?
So the water and sewer utility has about a $2 million budget, and that covers everything from, like you said, from pumping the water out of the ground to running it through our mains up to the tower, down through people's homes, and then through our sewer treatment plant, sewer treatment system, into the sewer treatment plant, and into the creek.
So my understanding is that the water utility has to operate at no profit and no loss.
Correct.
Now you have to be pretty good to be able to forecast exactly what that's going to be every
Yeah.
year. So what happens if there was an overage or a shortage in the bill in the funds?
Yeah. Absolutely. So our utility has to operate that our costs and our revenues offset each other. We're not allowed to make money. We don't run a profit. Any money that's over, so if we receive more revenue than we spend in plant operations, capital projects, so on, those kinds of things, that money gets reinvested back into the utility for use for future projects and future operations. So in 2021, we ran about a $21,000 surplus across all of our water and sewer funds. And so that allowed us to put that money back into the operation of the
next year.
utility. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things that I know residents are interested in is about the minimum charge. Now,
Yeah.
let's take a hypothetical situation. Let's say that nobody in the village of Glendale uses any water for a month. Do all the costs go away?
No, unfortunately not. We've got our water and sewer plants that still require staffing, still require operation, still require testing. We've got our mains under the roads that need to be maintained and repaired. We've got meters that need to be read. We've got all of that work that still needs to go on that generates costs for the village in man hours and equipment and in materials. And we have capital projects to upkeep our facilities so they meet EPA standards.
So whether or not anybody uses any water, those costs still have to be paid for.
Correct.
And that gets spread out over the users, the residents of the village.
Every user pays a minimum of about $243 a quarter. That covers 10 CCF of water usage. A CCF is about 748 gallons of water. So a minimum bill is about 7,400 gallons of water.
Over the quarter.
Over a quarter, over a 3-month period. Yeah. So then that minimum covers everyone's plant operations up to a certain point. After a minimum, then we start to charge the user per additional CCF over 10. So if you have a 15 CCF bill, you're going to get that 10 CCF minimum at $243. And then we have a formula that we use to multiply that additional 5 CCF to calculate what the overage charge would be over that minimum. That gives you your full water bill.
Okay. So what kind of improvements are you contemplating for the water utility?
We're always looking to improve our utility for 2 reasons. First of all, we want to keep our water quality good, and the EPA wants us to keep our water quality good. And so we're looking into things like replacing water mains. We've got a couple of projects that are lined up. Our most perhaps timely one is the replacement of water meters throughout the village. The Utilities Committee is actually working on that as of today to replace all of our water meters, which we have to read manually now, the little green cards that folks sometimes get, that require us to use a lot of man hours to read all those meters and also to enter all those readings. We're going to replace those manual meters with remote read meters that allow us to push a button in the office and everybody's water bill is automatically generated.
So that sounds like a real benefit to the village if that happens.
Absolutely. Folks are going to get more accurate readings and our billings are going to be more accurate, which is going to help us better estimate costs and billing.
Okay. So what is the relationship between Glendale and the Greater Cincinnati Water Works?
Sure. So Greater Cincinnati Water Works and the Village of Glendale, we do work from time to time together. We do have an emergency connection that we utilize if we have a water main break, for instance. That's up by our water tower is that emergency connection. So we turn that on if we ever need to shut our plant down for any reason. But we continue to operate our own utility And rather than going to something like Cincinnati Waterworks, if we did go to Greater Cincinnati, we would still be responsible for infrastructure. So our mains we would still have to replace. Meters would still have to be read. Bills would still have to be sent out. The only difference is that instead of producing our own water, we would have to purchase it from Cincinnati at a price they would set.
Okay, well, thank you, David. I hope everyone now has a better understanding of the costs associated with water. And now we're going to go to Mayor Don Lofty, and he's going to tell us about this year's Memorial Day celebration.
It is just great to be able to do things for the village that make the village better. And the Memorial Day parade and ceremony that we had recently was just no exception. I really enjoyed it, really I think everybody had a good time, and largely because of the work of the woman standing next to me, the organizer of the whole event, Hildy Bonhouse. And so Hildy, I just have to ask you, how did it feel to be managing the first parade that we've had in 3 years?
It was wonderful. A bit stressful going into it, but number one, it is just an important event to the village of Glendale, and it's great and an honor to be able to participate. Glendale loves its parade, Glendale loves its ceremony, and people are volunteering to help, so the ask is nothing.
Okay. Well, I've always thought it's the biggest day in Glendale for the year. Everybody comes together, so many people do, and have a great time. And in the process, we honor our veterans and those who gave their lives for their country. And so it's truly a wonderful day for the village. Hildy, I noticed that there were just a lot of people in that parade who had been there before, and undoubtedly will be back again. Can you talk about a few of those?
Sure. After 3 years of no parade, everybody wanted their parade back. So we had most of the Glendale organizations. We had the Grand Marshal in the parade. We had Mayor in the parade. We had our dignitary in the parade. And we had Princeton well represented, the marching band, and the cheerleaders, which kind of surprised me since school's already out. We had the bookmobile, and for the first time in at least a long time, we had the Viking ship. So, of course, we had toward the front of the parade our veterans, some riding and some marching. And we had the end of the parade was our contingent from the volunteer fire department. A great time.
Absolutely. And I noticed there were a few new folks in the parade. Can you talk a little bit about them?
Sure. This year, for the first time, we had the Blue Star Mothers of America. And they are an organization that was founded during World War II. They are the mothers of military service, their stepmothers, their grandmothers, their female guardians. And they are the moms of veterans or people in the reserves or veterans themselves. And it was great to have them. Their chapter is headquartered in Woodlawn. It's the Queen City chapter. And we also had the 9/11 steel, which is the only traveling memorial to 9/11. And it is a piece of steel from the Twin Towers. And it was great for it to come and then to stay for the ceremony so people could visit with it, see it up close.
So some things old, some things new for us, right? So the parade, of course, is the wonderful, part, the time when it's fun to see all these organizations that we know and some that we are just meeting. But of course, the main event is the ceremony. And that's where I think we stuck largely to tradition, as we should. And can you just tell us a little bit about the ceremony?
Sure. Officer Snell started off on trumpet. We were fortunate to have a student from Princeton High School, who also happened to be the drum major, sing the national anthem. We had our prayer from a local minister. We had a speaker, John Simon. We honored our Grand Marshal. And of course, since it was Memorial Day, Mike Fasshold read the names of um, the the men who gave their lives in service to our country, and also the 21 gun salute. Officer Snell played taps, and in our wonderful tradition, we are so honored to have the River Rats do their flyover and their missing man formation.
That's always been one of the highlights, and the amazing thing about it is how they get them to time their flyover very close to when taps is played. How does that work, Hildy?
Well, with some luck, they have a person sitting here watching what's going on. I do everything I can to time it out in advance, but it's not a car that can sit idle at the corner, so they're flying around trying to time when we're ready for them.
Well, Hildy, it was just a great day. Thank you for all of your work that went into this and making it the special day that it is for the village of Glendale. Well, I'm here with Steve Locker, who most of you know as the guy who runs the car show. And by the way, that's going to be on June 26th this year, Sunday. But we're here to talk about the memorial. A lot of you probably noticed that the memorial looked a little different and a lot better than it has in the past. And Steve is much the reason for that. Steve led an effort to bring it to really improve the stonework and other aspects of the memorial. And so I've asked Steve to come here and tell us a little bit about it. But first, Steve, maybe you can tell me what got you started on this? What caused you to think, oh, we need to do something with the memorial this year?
Well, in 2021, the Memorial Day, as we were standing at the top of the water tower, the veterans up there and the 21 gun salute team that I'm on, we couldn't see anything going on around down here because of the little tree type bush that's up there. So we decided after that we need to talk to someone about doing something about the bush. Then I had some veterans come up to me who were sitting in the benches down here behind us, and they complained about all the cracks and it was tearing their pants and so forth. And these were senior veterans who wanted to be close up. And so that was one of the reasons why I decided to go talk to the mayor. And from there, the mayor asked me if I would chair a campaign to do it, and I said yes, I would, and so that's where we are.
You really did, Steve, and you did just a fantastic job. And maybe you can just point out some of the key features of the renovation that you did.
Well, the most important one was removing the bush and tree that was up behind us, putting in a new flagpole. It's beautiful. It's in the center now where it should be. It can be easily seen. It's not blocked by trees and so forth. It was moved off of the tower over here. And then hopefully by next year, this is sort of a work in progress. Next year, we hope to have a copper eagle up there where the flag used to be, which was up there many years ago, and we hope it's going to return. So we have cleaned it up with a lot of cleaning materials. We repaired the bench. A lot of the cracks and stuff have been repaired. Some of the slate steps that go up both sides were loose. Those have all been reattached. And that's kind of where we are.
Well, Steve, whenever a job this big gets done, everybody asks, where'd the money come from? So, Steve, what can you tell us about that?
Well, you, Mayor, stepped up to the plate, presented it to the council and the budget committee, and they agreed to pick up half the cost. And then we started out talking to other members here, other than veterans, to see if they would help donate to pay the other half of the funds. And then I brought Craig Wolf into the picture because he wanted to be a part of it. And he went and talked to the Proctor Fund, and they came in and picked up half of the donations for the donation people. And so they picked up a quarter of the cost. And then we had 10 other people, including the mayor, who stepped up the plate and donated to make up the rest of the funds. Therefore, we came up with all the money we needed.
Steve, I just want to, on behalf of the village, I just want to thank you for the fantastic job that's been done here, for making this memorial what it should be, the beautiful centerpiece of the village. So thanks again, Steve.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, hello. Well, it's nice of you to join me at the Harry White and Brown Pavilion. Just for your information, the Harry White and Brown Community Center hosts the concerts on the greens every Saturday and Sunday right here on this stage. Come and join the community and meet some new friends and hang out with some of your old friends and enjoy the best live music in town. I'm going to get back to plucking these strings, but I hope to see you this summer.
Hi, this is Joe Dubinsky, and this will be my last appearance on This is Glendale. We'll be moving to New Jersey this month. It has been a privilege being a part of This is Glendale, bringing you the stories that make Glendale the special place that it is. Thanks for watching.